Hello, everyone, fellow YouTubers, and welcome to another edition of Paul Westbrook's Cinema Picks of the Week. And I think by now we're at 28 to 29 videos, I'm guessing. I'm not sure. I'm probably more likely to be at 28 videos. And we hope that you've enjoyed all the videos so far. And I know I've been talking a lot about movies, the different films that I've got in my collection, and there's a lot, and I'll be talking about them some more. For this little edition, I want to go a little different. Instead of talking about like the movies per se, like the DVDs or the VHSs, I'm going to talk about movie books that I have, and I have 3 of these books. These are books that are similarly themed and by the same author, Stephen J. Schneider. And he did these 3 books. I bought them all at Kohl's The Book People, which is at the Linden Park Mall in Brantford, Ontario, Canada. So if you're at any bookstore and you want to look at some stuff that have to do with movies, especially the books, you go and ask for these type of books and you should be able to find them, or just ask your retailer. Anyway, let's get started. The first book is a little bit huge here. It's called 1001 Movies That You Must See Before You Die. And it basically details a lot of the films in cinema history. You go all the way back to the beginning films. I'm just taking a look inside the book while I'm talking to you, so that way you get an idea. I just want to give you an idea in here what the book is about. And it has films that go from, this one here goes from 1902, which is Le Voyage dans la Lune, or A Trip to the Moon, directed by Georges Méliès, the French filmmaker that I was talking about in my earlier my story on classic early cinema. You know, the stuff where I talked about when the movies began. And this book is very detailed. You get a lot of good photographs. If my sister can get that shot there, you get to see some photographs that are inside the book. Thank you. And it goes to 2005, and it has movies like Little Miss Sunshine, Apocalypto, The Departed. That's one with Jack Nicholson and Leo DiCaprio. Pan's Labyrinth, Borat, which, I don't know, I wasn't really crazy about Borat. I call it boring. You have The Queen with Helen Mirren. She's very, very good actress. And I think the last one in here is called Atonement. It was from 2007. Now, there's a couple of editions that came out after this one that are a little more up to date, but as books go, this one is very detailed, and it's quite big. But you get all these good pictures, you get all the different details on the film, little anecdotes, little side anecdotes that are in the book too. And it's loaded with photographs, like black and white and color. So, for the film enthusiasts in your household, this would definitely be a recommended book that you could pick up. Secondly, in the series, and this is actually my favorite genre, 101 horror movies that you must see before you die. And yeah, it's got the creepy picture from The Exorcist, Linda Blair as Pazuzu, who is the demon entity that was causing the problem in the movie, and she was the one that was possessing Linda Blair's character of Regan McNeil. And on the side here you got the ghost face from the movie Scream, and on the back you have my sister's favorite slasher hero, Freddy Krueger. Yeah, you got him right on the back there. And it's smaller, a lot smaller than the book that I just showed you. But again, it's detailed, and it's got a lot of good photographs. And you even get the movie posters from some of the early movies. You getting that okay, sis?
Yep.
All right. You get to see some of the posters. Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds. And these are like the original posters that they got from the movies. And like if you went into the theaters at that time, you would get what we call lobby cards. And lobby cards, they would actually have a lot of the posters from the different films. And this one here, it goes back to the silent films. In fact, one of the first movies that's in this book is The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, which was a German film made in 1919 and starred Werner Krauss, Lil Dagover, and Conrad Veidt. Conrad Veidt later played a German official in the movie Casablanca, which was made in 1942 with Michael Curtiz as the director. And you get all the stuff. You get like The Haunting, you get Dracula, and you get some of the films like Candyman, which by the way was remade, folks. It's going to be in theaters soon. You get Candyman, you get the Blair Witch Project. I don't know why a lot of people didn't like the movie. They just thought it was this independent project where you had all these kids, I think there were 3 kids. They went into the woods and they ended up getting lost. But the thing is that it was actually good from an independent film standpoint. And a lot of people who love independent films, I think, really got more out of it than some of the people that went to the theater and said, "Oh, it made me sick because I couldn't stand the moving camera because it was like found footage. So it made them dizzy." I'll admit that I got that way when I watched Cloverfield, but at the same time, I still managed to enjoy the film. Then you have The Others with Nicole Kidman and A Tale of Two Sisters, which was remade as a movie, believe it or not, that I actually have, called The Uninvited, which is in my collection over there. Actually, I can quickly show you that one. The movie Uninvited. This one here was based on that film I just showed you called The Tale of Two Sisters. It was the Korean version. This is the Americanized version. But nonetheless, it still had the same premise, the same storyline, and usually the same shocking ending that it had in the original Korean version. But yeah, if you couldn't afford the 1001 movies, the 101 horror movies, these are actually a cheaper price. You get it for about $17.99 plus tax, so can't argue with that. I think it's a good deal. Finally, I picked up 101 sci-fi movies because besides horror, my other favorite is science fiction, and the third being Western. But I wasn't able to find 101 Western movies you must see before you die, so I got this one. And again, it's as detailed as the first one. You get that's the scene from Metropolis there, which was made in 1927. I believe it was 1927, yes. It was one of the last science fiction silent films that were made at that time. And in the contents here, in the table of contents, you get movies from the 1900s and it goes all the way to the 2000s. So you get the very first movies like A Trip to the Moon, which is in there. And there's a big picture of it right there. Of the rocket landing in the moon's eye. That's from a movie called A Trip to the Moon. And it goes all the way to Avatar, which, believe it or not, they're making part 2 and part 3. I believe they've finished them now. They're supposed to be released within the next year or so. And Attack the Block. This was actually an independent film that was done in 2011 in the UK, and it has John Boyega, who a lot of you might know as Finn in the Star Wars movies that were recently out. And you got Gravity, which was with Sandra Bullock. And that was the last movie there. And in between, you get a lot of science fiction movies in between. You get like RoboCop, Star Trek, Back to the Future, Brazil, Starman, which was a movie starring Jeff Bridges. And it had Karen Allen and Charles Martin Smith. And Repo Man. Repo Man had Emilio Estevez in it. Hello, and I'm back again. And sorry about that. We had to do a quick pause because my sister's battery was running out, and we had to power up the battery. So we're okay now, so we can continue. And again, I was just talking about this 101 Sci-Fi Movies book that I have here, and you get, like I say, you get all the pictures that you could want in this book, and you get a lot of information on films, like the different films. And some of the movies that they list in this book aren't necessarily the more famous ones. There's some that are from even around the world, like Stalker from West Germany, which was made in 1979, for instance. And of course, they have Logan's Run, The Man Who Fell to Earth, which was a really good sci-fi film, which starred rocker David Bowie in it. And you get Slaughterhouse-Five, which was made in 1972, based on a novel by Kurt Vonnegut. And of course you get Who Killed Jesse, which was made in 1966, and it was a Czechoslovakia film. It was made in Czechoslovakia. And you get, that's an example of some of the independent films. Seconds, which was 1966, and it was the first movie that John Frankenheimer had actually directed, one of his first films, and Rock Hudson was in it. And just looking through here, Alphaville, which was made in 1965. So yeah, it's just a little example of what a film enthusiast or a person that just happens to like movies, or even the regular reader likes to read up. So if you want to read up on sci-fi movies, or if you want to read up on the horror movies, or just the films in general, this is the book I recommend the most. The 1001 movies that you all must see before you die. So for now, that's Paul Westbrook reminding you to like and subscribe to our channel. I know it sounds cliche, but I like to say it anyway. Like and subscribe to our channel, and remember to leave the comments at the bottom so that we can read them. Your likes, your dislikes, what you feel we can improve on. Although I hope that by now you actually enjoyed the show a little more. And this is Paul Westbrook saying, I'll be seeing you at the movies. Good night, everyone.